Good afternoon to all of you and welcome to our second Knowledge Valorization talk. Our session today is called and the urgency that we need to become better at unlocking our innovation potential and creating more economic as well as societal value from our excellent research and innovation in Europe. There is no doubt that the creation of societal value is the objective of publicly funded research, and that societal benefits arise from all fields of science. However, it is not always easy for researchers to identify and communicate about the potential impact of their findings. Our speakers today will share their views and best practices on how to encourage researchers in identifying, presenting, and measuring the value of their work for society. I encourage all of you watching to join the discussion, to engage with our speakers, and to already send your question via Slido, #EU Valorization Talk for the upcoming question and answer session. Let me now introduce our panelists. First of all, our first speaker, Mrs. Laura Valkeasuo, is a senior advisor at the University of Helsinki. Laura works in the team of research management support, and she specializes in the social impact of research, EU issues, and the development of knowledge-based management. Laura, please, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So the University of Helsinki says in its strategy that with the power of knowledge, we can change attitudes, people, and society for the world. And that just shows that we are working as a very large team to make the world a better place for us all. And this goal is also pursued by our best practice, which the University of Helsinki wants to openly share with anybody who wants to know more about the societal impact of research and how to promote it. Change, please. So our best practice is a completely open and free of charge online course called Researchers Online Course on Research Impact, and it can be found on a platform called DigiCampus. The basic idea of the course is to give you new ideas what the societal impact could be for your research. So we are not making any decisions for you, but give you a variety of tools to make your own. The course is especially aimed at researchers, but anybody who wants to know more about impact can benefit from it. It does not matter which discipline or topic you're working on, the course works for all. And although it is full of information, you may actually smile a bit when taking it because we didn't want to make it too heavy or serious either. You can find animation, video, pictures, small tasks and tests to make it interesting. And we use a lot of examples from real research to make our arguments more understandable. Change, please. So the course consists of 5 parts, first of which delves into the basic concepts of impact. So you will learn how to distinguish outcomes from impact and also think about whether causal relationship between research and impact is possible to verify. We talk about the history of impact a little bit and also refute some unnecessary simplifications, such as that curiosity-based research would have no impact. The second part of the course is all about interaction. Well-designed interaction is the best way to promote impact. And here we would like to remind you that it should not be limited to communicating research results only, but you can have productive interaction in earlier phases of research, such as data collection phase or conceptualization. You will also be able to explore different impact pathways and ways to reach different research audiences. In the third section of the course, you will learn who in the society can benefit from research and in what ways. We think about different ways of understanding the role of research in the society and how that affects the way audiences understand, value, and also use scientific knowledge and assess its impact. We go through concepts of interests and relevance and how to take those into account. And also I would like to remind you that the researcher alone cannot guarantee that their research will bring wider change, but also other issues such as social or political context will affect the result. The fourth part of the course is dedicated to impact evaluation. Here we also talk about the history of evaluation a little bit and to whom they are important and what the evaluations can be used for. We talk about the problems of impact evaluation and where they stem from. We break down different ways to use research knowledge and consider why it is easier to evaluate the impact of one kind of research than another. And we argue that impact evaluation should not be done only on the terms of impact that can be more easily seen and described by numbers, because a lot of important type of impact gets then ignored. Finally, we go towards solutions by introducing some steps towards more responsible evaluation methods. And the fifth and the last part of the course is the most practical one. Here you will get concrete and practical advice how to promote impact into the direction of political decision making in particular. So we go through different roles researchers can take and talk about what evidence-informed decision making means and how it occurs. We also explain the role of knowledge brokers in this process and give you a few organizations to start with if you don't know who to contact. We also go through the stages of the policy process and list a few ways and routes researchers can influence decision-making processes. Next, please. So that's about it. I unfortunately cannot go through everything we have on the course here. So if you're interested and want to know more, please go to digicampus.fi and find out.
Wow, Laura, thank you so much. This practice is really very innovative. Can you really confirm that the course is freely accessible to anybody across the EU? And
Yeah, definitely. All you need is an internet connection. So go to digicampus.fi and you can use either your Haka credentials or your Edugain credentials or your Google account, or you can even create manually a new account and sign in and you're good to go.
Wow, that's fantastic. And in addition to this fantastic course, does the University of Helsinki provide also other concrete support or guidance for researchers to promote the societal impact of their research? And in this respect, would you think that incentives like career progression or financial incentives could also be used?
Yeah, definitely. We have at the University of Helsinki, we have plenty of services for researchers who want to go towards entrepreneurship or commercialization, for example, or they want to connect with businesses or decision makers. We also have alumni activities, which enable researchers to hear what are the most topical issues outside the university at the moment, and vice versa, of course. We have active science education networks, science classes, and pedagogical support for researchers who want to connect more with citizens. So yeah, and I could go on, so that's just a few. And when it comes to like incentives, yeah, we do recognize at the University of Helsinki the social interaction as part of researchers' work, overall evaluation and recruitment. We also have faculty level awards that give recognition to researchers who do exceptionally impactful work. But on a general levels, yeah, that's absolutely essential. The promotion of impact needs to be recognized as part of researchers' work and also their professional skills. Researchers need dedicated funding and resources to enable to have time to do impact work. And for it to be rewarding to them, it also needs to merit them and contribute to their careers.
Thank you very much. That's a very good practice that you have in the University of Helsinki. Very good experience on which we should really benchmark. But let's now hear from Mr. Helder Lopez, our next speaker. Helder, he's the Director of Research and Innovation at Nova University in Lisbon. Certainly very interesting experience there too. Helder leads the Impact Office, which is the knowledge transfer support arm of the university. And we're very eager to hear from you, Helder, on the experience of the university on Lisbon and what has been put in place.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for having me. It is a great pleasure to be here representing Nova University Lisbon and to have the opportunity to share some of the initiatives that we have been doing to communicate and capture research impact. So next, in particular, I'll be showcasing a recent initiative that we launched just last year, so it's quite recent, the Nova Research Impact Narratives Challenge, which aims to encourage researchers to communicate the impact of their research, whether it is social, economical, cultural, political, or many others, or a combination of different types of impacts through impact narratives that can be easily understandable by the general public. And why have we decided to launch this initiative? Well, as a public university, we firmly believe that we have an important role to play, and also, of course, including the support to our researchers and to make them transforming and translating research findings into societal impact. Because we do believe that by doing that, and was also one of the goals to inform better decision making within policy, business, or even individual lives, and which is very important nowadays, all grounded in important scientific evidences. So, and also to empower researchers to demonstrate the value of their research beyond academic circles, and by doing that, foster new collaborations with societal and industrial players. But overall, our vision was to create a strong research impact culture within university, within Nova, and to bridge this gap between science and society. So next, I've outlined some key ingredients of the initiatives, and I will help. Hopefully, they will help the audience to gain a better understanding of what we did, but also and eventually to inspire others to replicate similar initiatives. And we began by a benchmark of best practices. So by looking into what is already out there, because I mean, you not need to reinvent the wheel. Maybe you can build upon what is already there and it's having a success. And the UK Research Excellence Framework served as a key reference. Research impact is very deeply rooted in the UK universities, but also looking in the other examples within the European framework. And that was the basis and the foundation for this initiative, but also taking advantage of the timing. So research impact is not a new thing, but the truth is that it's gaining an increasing importance across research funding agencies. If you are a researcher and you apply for a research grant, the impact section is actually very important. So you have to start looking at impact more often and more broadly, but also around the research assessment. So we have recent movements like COARA that are advocating for recognizing diverse outputs and activities in research, and we took the opportunity to capitalize on this momentum. And then to, of course, provide training and support to our researchers. So we partner up with the international specialists that delivered some workshops on research impact, narrative writing, so things that researchers typically struggle a bit. So it was important to equip them with these research impact lenses, but also developing a toolkit for them to navigate this landscape. Of course, also the importance of communicating and advertising this across all our schools and faculties. And very, very important to create clear incentives for them to mobilize the researchers to make them participating in this challenge. So that's why we decided to do it as a contest, providing some monetary prizes, symbolic monetary prizes, but a way of incentivizing that. But more than that, to make ways of increasing the visibility of their work through the publication in multiple platforms, as I will show later. Of course, the context should be guided by clear and transparent rules. So we also invited external jury members, including science journalists, but also individuals with experience in evaluating research impact case studies, and that was also very important. And not last but not least, the importance of having a visionary leadership. So our rectoral team, the vice deans for research that are in the Strategic Research Council that have supported this initiative for the very beginning, and it was also very important. So as a result, in only 2 editions, so it started last year, we are completing the second edition now. We managed to have more than 50 applications from all our schools, so from different scientific domains, from social sciences, law and business to engineering, health and life sciences, meaning that impact can happen actually in different scenarios and across diverse scientific disciplines. Involving more than 350 researchers as part of the team that was mentioned in the application. So this is also a testimony that impact is actually a team sport and needs a multidisciplinary approach. And in the webinars that we have organized, we have a very high participation rate, so more than 150 researchers participating on average in each session. This is only in our research community. And as a follow-up webinar, we have organized a webinar on narrative CV writing, which probably hit record of registrations within our research community, more than 640 researchers registering, which is also a sign that they are eager to know more about and how to do and to communicate impact. So far, we have 12 winners. Some of them are not yet publicly announced, so it will be announced in an annual event to celebrate research at Nova that it will be organized in the end of the year, and also some honorable mentions to recognize the impact of some narratives that we have received. So to conclude, we also generated content that is now being disseminated across multiple platforms in our science magazine, in our website. We have the case studies being published there. Not all of them are there, but you can scan the QR code and have access to some of our case studies. But we are also producing some videos because, well, although we try to encourage them to communicate this in a compelling way, sometimes an image, a video is worth 1,000 words. So we are now working on that. And yeah, so we think that to finish, we should indeed keep challenging our researchers to showcase the impact of their research. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Elder. This is really a great initiative. Certainly, it's a source of inspiration. Let me ask you a quick question. What benefits and follow-up actions do you expect from this initiative? What will it generate, for example, with societal or industrial players outside the university for them to valorize the results?
Yeah, that's a very good question. As I mentioned earlier, this is a quite recent initiative, so it started last year. But we do believe that this will have some interesting impacts across the university. So what we are trying to do is somehow planting the seeds, and we expect these some fruits in the near future. But more than just trying to secure the next partnership with a societal or industrial organization, we really aim to embed this research culture in the very foundation of our research. And this is, of course, part of this piece of the puzzle, let's say, but it's our vision. And but yeah, of course, we expect that by promoting this research through this in a way that is, we hope, more understandable to general public, we'll have more partnerships with the industry, but also with the societal organizations, NGOs, and many others, the local and central governments. So, and we also expect that by providing these narratives, it could eventually inspire other researchers to do similar approaches and creating this virtual cycle of this culture of research impact. I can give you probably one concrete example. So one of the award-winning narratives of last year which was developed by a research team that developed the platform that is combining different data sources using business intelligence, data science, and geographical systems for real-time monitoring of territorial dynamics. And they started a pilot with one municipality or a group of municipalities in the west region of Lisbon. And now they are, due to the increased visibility, they are now applying or will apply this in other regions of Portugal. And of course, we expect that this will, in other cases, it will have a similar thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helder, also to highlight this strategic vision of the Nova University. As you said, it's very important to have a strategic vision to move ahead on those questions. So now, last but not least, certainly let me introduce Mr. Thomas de Groot. Thomas is an impact coach at the Social Innovation Factory, a Belgian organization that supports social innovators and entrepreneurs. Thomas advises on impact measures, financing mix, and scaling scenarios. Thomas, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Christina. Thanks again for inviting us here today. I just wanted to share also with the audience that we are not a research institute. So we are indeed a more a non-profit organization supporting social innovation and social entrepreneurship. This, of course, impacts also the way we look at impact itself. What's important to share is also that we work together with different stakeholders in society from the start to support social innovation directly and indirectly. Next, please. Next slide. Yeah. What does it mean, impact measurement from our perspective, the impact measurement for research and innovation, also counting social innovation? Well, a good definition to start with is the impact of research, and it looks very similar to the one that Helder has been sharing. I would like to add that we look at it from different perspectives and different levels. To start with, the micro, which is the individual level, the meso level, which is the organizational level, and the macro level, which is the societal level. So if you look at domains like economy, society, culture, public policy, services, health, and so on, you can look at it at those different levels. On top of that, there is a time perspective, the short, the medium, the long term. And so this means that impact is a very complex, element in what innovation can mean for society. It also means that you can, when you talk about indicators, you should really consider the context, including at least the reach. So this really means being concrete about how which beneficiaries are involved, the level in society, the diversity of beneficiaries, and on the other hand, the depth, so the degree of the impact that has enabled, enriched, influenced, informed, or changed, let's say, performances, policies, practices, and so on. Next slide. We also wanted to share some elements that play an important role, in fact, when defining impact, defining indicators for impact. On the one hand, there are some thresholds. The VUCA society, we have a complex society, so it also means that measuring impact is very complex. On the other hand, there is a huge divergence of interest, especially and that's what we have put in the middle, especially when we talk about different stakeholders in society. And there is the industry, the policy, research, civil society. And given the fact that co-creation and co-production is much more now in the core of research than before, this makes it, of course, not only a threshold, but also a trend, given the fact that we need to go for shared accountability and transdisciplinarity, given the fact that some research fields collide, work together, have to work together in order to change society profoundly. Next, please. What does it mean for the process of impact measurement for research and innovation? In fact, it's a matter of policy and dedication. It does mean that in every step of the process of research, impact measurement can and should be involved, starting with identifying stakeholders. Who is involved? Who can be involved? Where is the potential? Where is the relevance of research? Next, it means to define where the impact might happen, where in theory, and that's called the theory of change, in short, medium and long term, society might be affected, might be impacted. The next step is to quantify the impact. What are the indicators that bring alight the change, the possible and envisioned change, given the definition that we shared before? And then, of course, we have the impact measurement itself, collecting the real important data, and then, of course, the follow-up and report. So as you can see, the different steps that you see here on the slide, and this is also how we in 4 half-day workshops, next slide, with the impact measurement tool of Impact Track, we in fact try to share a generic process of impact measurement at 2 levels. There is like the portfolio level, which is, let's call it the policy level of research. This is to centralize the agenda setting and the data collection, to analyze and communicate impact at an aggregated level, and also to engage support for project holders from different corners of society to also measure the impact of their projects. Given the trend of shared accountability, we also do believe that shared impact measurement is a trend that should be put into practice in the future. To end with, we have the project level, giving the researchers enough freedom to really define and decide upon where the material change is really happening. Providing capacity building, which is like 4 half days, so not too much. Sharing the data collection in a centralized way, and of course giving researchers the space, the room, but also the opportunity to share analysis and valorization of the impact that they do believe they bring about. Next, please. So yeah, that's it. I hope I'm looking forward also to the questions that we receive from the audience, given our experiences.
Thank you very much, Thomas. It's very interesting to have the perspective from your side. If I may ask you a question also, you spoke a lot about indicators. And my question is, if you had to pick one, what is the most important indicator or aspect to consider for measuring the social impact of research?
Given my conviction that researchers and every innovator in society, or everybody that stands at the start of an innovation, maybe even when not realizing it, it is the possibility of change within it, starting with the reach. So which beneficiaries, which organizations, structures might be impacted. So to start with the reach, and then, if possible, of course, try to define where and how the change will really happen. In fact, I would say 2 indicators, one of reach and one of the depth, the change, when it really happens.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Thanks to all of you. We already see questions on Slido, but before opening the floor to those questions, I would like to ask you a brief question to all of you. Many participants are interested in improving the communication. How to communicate the research work to different audiences, not just to experts. How to engage with local stakeholders as well as local and national governments. What advice would you give in this respect? Very briefly, Laura, starting with you.
Well, thank you. We have one whole section or even two on our course about this. So just here on a general level, I would say that take time. Take time to know your audience or audiences. Take time to know what the relevant information or knowledge to them would look like. Get to know what the exact ways and times for reaching them work best. And also collaborate, take time to collaboration, start it as early as possible and continue throughout your project. Make yourself known, participate as well as much as you can, and take advantage of the resources provided by your own organization and knowledge brokers and other intermediaries.
Thank you, Laura. So time and collaboration.
Yes.
Helder, what would you say?
Yeah, I have presented one possible way. So I would say try to start writing your own impact narrative. And there are several tools out there to help you doing that. As Laura mentioned, the institution nowadays also have specialized people to support researchers in communicating science, from the science communication officers to knowledge transfer offices. So if you have doubts, if you need help, knock on them door and try to ask for help. Think from impact from day one, since you are drafting or crafting your next research question. So, and then try to getting to capture the impact of what you are doing. I mean, you can only have a folder in your desktop, and as soon as you receive feedback, you have a citation in a policy brief document, for instance. And that's so trying to create evidence that will be needed to demonstrate that you are actually creating impact. So
ask for support and thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, Thomas, on your side.
Well, it's the disadvantage to be the last one to answer this question. But I would like to, as it's all relevant what's being said before, what I would like to add to that is the shared element of it. So the shared impact measurement, shared sense making about, let's say, what might be the societal challenges that might be tackled, what might be the relevance of research. So share as much as possible. Like Helder said, from the start, so starting with when you start with your process and you continue along the way, involve stakeholders, involve colleagues. That would be the most important and first thing to do.
Sharing and involvement. Okay, great. So now let's take some questions from the audience. I see that we already have some of them arriving. For those who are interested to also put forward some question, I recall the hashtag EU Valorisation Talk. So I take the first question, which is for Laura. Laura, if you can explain what an impact pathway might look like. For example, is it a diagram or a narrative? What level of detail, key elements would it entail?
Yeah, impact pathways are ways of showing the different ways knowledge and research changes the society. So, for example, it can be planned, of course, if you want to think about ahead what that would look like for your research, but also it may be unexpected. So an example of impact pathway would be that a research group had worked on a certain issue for a long time, and then something rapid, something unexpected happens in the society, and they are ready to, tackle that issue based on what they have done before. So those are like the models, one would say, or types of knowledge and research heading towards societal changes or effects.
Thank you so much, Laura. I change a bit the order, so Helder, I will ask a question to Thomas now from the audience, and then I will get back to you. So, Thomas, what is your view on the National Research Evaluation Framework using impact case studies, for example, as it is done in the UK and Sweden?
Well, honestly, I don't know about these impact case studies. So, to that sense, I cannot tell too much about it. But when we talk about case studies in the impact measurement context, they often are the first, let's say, relevance cases of impact. So it means that if something happens in society, for instance, in a systemic change way, talking about pathways, sometimes they use case studies to really show what's happening, how causal relationships are, let's say, changing elements in society. So before, let's say, the big data is available, this might be a relevant way to start with. Yeah, so that's what I can say about it, but I don't know about these frameworks. So yeah.
Thank you so
honestly.
much. That's very clear. Thank you. I would like now ask you a question, Heider. It is about how you would motivate researchers in participating in a challenge like the one of NOVA without really having a possibility of remunerating them.
That's an interesting question. Actually, don't have a lot of cash to reward them, so it's, as I mentioned, a symbolic prize money of only up to 2,000 euros for them to actually build on and capitalize the communication of their narrative. But yeah, we thought about doing that as one of the rewards. But as I mentioned, we are building or developing other important initiatives within our university. For instance, recently we have revised the regulation to assess our researchers, and what we did was so we have different profiles. One is related to knowledge valorization, impact, value creation, and we established a minimum threshold of 10%. So now researchers will actually have to demonstrate that they are now creating some value. I mean, and when I mean value, it could be social value again, cultural, how they are influencing policy making, how they are collaborating with industry. But this is part of their assessment, so they will be more aware and focused on. So it's kind of a motivation because they will have to look at that because it will be part of their assessment as well. But yeah, I mean, again, involving the management, talking with different research units, it was interesting that we have a lot of submissions and applications from the social sciences and humanities schools, because typically they struggle to show what they have been doing, because I mean we can talk about patents, creating spin-offs, startups, and in that case it's not very common. So they had opportunity to, through these case studies, through these narratives, to demonstrate how some of their researchers are having an impact in a certain community. For instance, in one case, to help tourist guides to have more knowledge about liturgical books that one of our researchers was studying and now is translating into the tourist guides that in the end are translating the knowledge to the visitors. And we hope that these cases will also inspire others to communicate impact. So it's a variety of things that we hope that will help to motivate them beyond the cash prize.
Thank you very much, Helder. Let me take another question for you, Thomas. So I wanted to ask you, what are the impact data and how to collect interaction data? Who should collect the impact data?
It's a very good question. To start with the first part of it, I would say that the impact data is about change. So that's really where the change happens. So that's where you have to look at First, where do you expect the change to happen? Which context, which level, and so on. Interaction data, of course, this part of the question can be interpreted in different ways. Is it interaction between people? So it depends really on where the interaction is happening and how it can be measured. So there, this is a methodological question, and there are different ways to do that with surveys, with geographic monitoring, based on statistic data. So it really depends on the indicator and the context. To end with, who should collect the data? It's a very interesting question, because in research, of course, there is in research institution, there is a lot of expertise. And so it means that this is what makes research institutions and for universities, university colleges, specialists. So to that sense, in-house there should be a lot of expertise, and on the other hand, for instance, in the case of citizen science, you can use stakeholders also to collect data. It depends on, again, the level of impact, the context, and also on the budget.
Thank you very much, Thomas. We are running a bit out of time, but I wanted to ask a last question to Laura. If you can briefly take one of the questions from the audience, which is how can academic educators integrate the concept of societal value creation?
This is a question about how to integrate it into education. I mean, following this discussion is a great start. As much when you know more about the issue and you can find yourself the ways to integrate into your teaching. And this is actually a very good point. We should start talking about these things and these issues already in the earlier phases of academic career from the students onwards, so that they understand what impact means and also their impact, because a lot of impact is created, if not even the most, is throughout our students who then graduate and go there outside to the society and start using, of course, also the scientific research in their work and their academic thinking and everything. So very good point.
Thank you very much, and today's event is very good in this respect. So we are reaching the conclusion of this nice event. So I wanted to ask you a final message. I would like to give you 1 minute each to say your concluding words. I would change the order and start from Thomas again, then Helder and Laura. Please, Thomas.
Thank you. Well, I would compare impact measurement to the evolution of the eye. If you want to get started, start small and let it grow like the way you really want and can measure, given of course, the means that you have at hand and the network that you have within and outside the research institute. So start today. Start small, but the most important element is that you start measuring.
Thank you. Helder.
Well, I believe we have many researchers attending this session, so my first message would go to them. So again, start to think about research impact from the very beginning, since you are addressing your research question, thinking of who is going to benefit from the research that you are going to develop. So as soon as you start, probably you'll have more evidences to say soon. So researchers actually need to ensure that they are equipped with these tools and concepts to better translate research results to society. But on the other hand, we also need institutions, whether it be universities, funding agencies, governments, supporting these to actually create this research impact culture with a more, let's say, impactful results to society. So as it was clear in this debate, research impact is very important, and I mean, because it keeps us focused on the purpose rather than the process of research. So for researchers, never forget the purpose, because purpose matters. Thank you.
Indeed, purpose matters. Laura, a final word on your side.
Yeah, I would also address the researchers and say that you don't have to change the subject of your passion in order to do impactful works. It can be any research topic or any field. There's so many ways and routes to impact that anybody can find their own. Research changes the world, especially when it advances to new territories. So the most important thing you can do is to follow your curiosity, because without curiosity, nothing will change.
Thank you very much. Curiosity indeed very important. Let me thank you, Laura. Let me thank you, Hector and Thomas, for the very, very valuable participation, insights, experience, sharing all what you're doing, which really looks great. And I hope that the audience enjoyed this talk. I would like to thank the audience, to thank all the researchers that were tuned. Hope you have gained valuable insights, and we would like to really hear your practices, challenges, indicators to ensure societal value of research results. That's why we have created a feedback questionnaire which is available on the event page of this talk that you can use. Please use it and send it back to us. It's important for us to hear from all of you. In the meantime, stay tuned for our next EU talk, which will take place on the 19th of November. It will be on successful models for academia industry knowledge valorization. Thank you very much and have a very, very nice rest of the day. Thank you.